Hi everybody, welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you 3 super easy, super healthy dishes from ingredients that you most likely have on hand. And these are things that anybody can make. There's actually very little cooking and very little prep involved. So let's start with the first one. This is a mixture of vegetables and tomatoes. And in here we have eggplant, 1 medium eggplant that's been peeled and cut into cubes. We have 1 pint of cherry tomatoes. We have 1 medium red onion that's been diced up. We have 1 yellow pepper that's been diced and 1 red pepper that's been diced. And what we're going to do with these, we're going to roast them at high temperature. And so I'm going to prepare a sheet pan and we're going to put them in a 425-degree oven. Here's our sheet pan, and here's a little tip. We're going to spray it with vegetable spray, but we're going to put it in the sink to do so that it doesn't get all over everything. And this will prevent the vegetables from sticking. So we're going to spread these out. We're going to try to get them in a single layer. They'll roast more evenly if they're in a single layer and not piled on top of each other. And now we're going to sprinkle them and toss them with a little bit of olive oil, 1 to 2 tablespoons. And you can just use your hands to do this. Toss them around. We're going to add garlic, but we didn't mix the garlic in with the vegetables. We're going to sprinkle it over the top because once the veggies are mixed with the oil, if you put the garlic into that blend, since you're cooking at high heat, the garlic will most likely burn. So we're going to sprinkle the garlic over the top. And before we stick it in the oven, we'll give it a little shot of kosher salt and a little fresh ground black pepper. And then we're going to put them in the oven at 425 for about 40 minutes or until you get tender veggies that are a little brown around the edges. Go. Our next dish is a delicious spread that comes from the Middle East. It's called muhammarah. And the ingredients are things, all except for 1, that you probably have on hand. Roasted red peppers, these are from a jar. There's a cup of them here and they have been rinsed and drained. This is a cup of walnuts, chopped walnuts that have been toasted in a 350-degree oven for about 8 minutes. This really improves the flavor and texture of the nuts. We've got 1½ teaspoons of salt, 1½ teaspoons of ground cumin, a teaspoon of Hungarian paprika. Now we come to a couple of really special things. This is called pomegranate molasses. And what it is, it's the juice of pomegranates that's been cooked down to a thick syrup, and it's used extensively in parts of the Middle East for cooking, and for salad dressing, and for drinks, and for desserts, and for a number of things. It's really quite versatile. It's available in Middle Eastern markets. I got this one at a halal grocer right down the road from me on Barrows Road. So this is the ingredient that gives it, the dish, its particular character and taste. And then extra virgin olive oil and tomato paste. And what I've done is I've measured out the 3 tablespoons of pomegranate molasses and the 2 tablespoons of olive oil into this little bowl. So really all you need to do is to add all the ingredients to the food processor. Now, once this is done, it makes a beautiful spread that you can eat with toasted pita bread, that you can spread for sandwiches, you can use for an appetizer or an hors d'oeuvre, and it's also often used as a condiment for roasted and grilled meats. So let's start. I'm actually going to start with the walnuts and the salt. The salt being a kosher salt, the coarse grained kosher salt will help get the walnuts ground up more quickly. So we'll start with that. So now they're nice and crumbly. We'll add the rest of the ingredients. It's really very simple. There we go. This looks just about right. This is so good. People will say, "What is this? It's so delicious." And when you tell them what it is, they'll say, "Pomegranate molasses. I never heard of that." Well, now you know. So I'm going to just take a little parsley because the contrast in the color is so beautiful. A little fresh chopped parsley. And then what I would do is I would serve this with toasted pita bread that I have opened and torn. You open it up, cut it in half, open it up, spray the bready side with a little olive oil spray or canola spray, season it with some salt and pepper, and then bake it at 325 for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's nice and golden and crunchy, and it's delicious.
Our last dish is called ajlouk. It's a dish from Tunisia. It's made principally with carrots and potatoes, but it's seasoned in a very unusual way. It's eaten as a spread, as a side dish, as a vegetable, either hot, cold, room temperature, however you want to serve it. So I've cooked the carrots and the potatoes. There's about 3/4 pound of potatoes, about a 1/2 pound of carrots, in salted water with 2 cloves of chopped garlic until everything is tender. Then just drain it away, and it's here in the bowl now. And I'm going to mash this, and when I get it nice and smooth, I'm going to add some olive oil, some white wine vinegar, some ground cumin, and a pinch of cayenne pepper, and then we'll season it with salt. We're not going to have this mashed until it's fluffy like mashed potatoes. We want it kind of chunky because it's a rustic dish. So get it about halfway. So I'm going to add, probably a tablespoon or so of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I'll start with 1, see how that goes. And a tablespoon of the white wine vinegar. I would say about 1/2 teaspoon of salt to start. We've got our cumin, which is about a teaspoon, and a pinch of red pepper that's in there as well. And that's just about it. Almost no time at all. And again, you would eat this with pita bread or by itself, or as an accompaniment to a meat or other vegetables. I like the way that looks. All right, we'll set that aside and plate this. You can see the consistency. It's nice and rustic. And if you have some chopped parsley or chopped cilantro, it'll be very pretty on top. It's a delicious dish. Here we have our roasted vegetables, and you can see that they've gotten nice and browned around the edges and everything is soft. So it's time to put them into the food processor and get them blended into a smooth paste. We've got all of our roasted vegetables and our tomatoes nice and soft, nicely browned, and they're in the food processor. And now we're just gonna process them until they're smooth. Now this is best eaten cold, and it's also best made in the summertime when all the vegetables are at their peak and most flavorful. And especially if you have an overload of tomatoes or eggplants, this is a great thing to make. Very, very healthy, very delicious. Again, people are not going to know what they're eating, but it is a simple, healthy, and delicious spread. I'd like to thank everybody who bought my service auction offering. It's been fun doing this for you, and I hope you enjoy. Here are your 3 dishes. This is the roasted vegetable spread that's best eaten cold. This is the ajluk, eaten at any temperature and any way you like. And this is the muhammara, and I hope you enjoy.